Deep in the jungle of central Vietnam, there's a wonder of the world. Wow, this is amazing! A lost universe that hides a unique ecosystem. It doesn't happen anywhere else on this planet. I think that's just about the holy grail for biologists and a team of scientists and explorers with a mission. This is an amazing cave. Look at that. Absolutely threatening. To investigate a record-breaking contender for the world's biggest cave, Vietnam Mountain River Cave, or Hanson Doong, he dreaded theories, and yet to no one had thought the depth of this monstrous cave. The team of pioneers is here to prove this cave is the largest in the world. This is an absolutely amazing game. It's huge that we just in entrance now. It's gonna get so much bigger. That is amazing. It's absolutely wonderful. This is definitely a once in a lifetime opportunity. I'm so excited about being here. Practically the first person to set foot in the cave. It's a wonderful opportunity. In 2009, Cable Jonathan Shims was one of the first humans ever to enter here. But deep into the long cave process, he was stopped short by a forbidding rock face. He brings more advanced climbing equipment and a commitment to reach the top of the world. The expedition begins with a dangerous 328-foot rappel into the first massive cavern. British carpet-powered Limber had led 12 expeditions to the Vietnam limestone caves. This year's expeditions into Mountain River Caves is especially dangerous because it's so remote. Anybody can fall and twist their ankle, break their ankle. That could happen, and if later on, that we got rescue on her hands. German zoologists and dispatchers is anxious to enter the units and the crowd world within. Scientist opportunity and a caving opportunity as well at the same time. It's fabulous. The Red Rangers is here to unravel the mystery of Mountain River Cave. He's an expert in cave geology. If this is the world's biggest cave, he's want to know how it's grew to such record-breaking size. It's like no other cave I haven't been here. Southeast Asia is famous for its limestone geology dating back 450 million years. Menalot Cave, Little Vietnam. But here within Cat Bang National Park, Mountain River Cave is certainly the giant among caves. In the 2009 expedition, Lindbergh and his team were only able to fully explore the first section of the cave. But the fabrics they estimate to be about 500 feet wide and about 650 feet high. That's over 3 times the height of Niagara Falls. DFK is Sarawak, Malaysia, currently hold the title World Biggest Cave. From what they saw last time, Lindbergh teams is convinced this cave may be biggest. Getting out of the cave is some sort of order. To claim the world record, they need hard evidence. All this on nations. That's why we got to survey to find how big it is, whether it is the biggest cave in the world. We have got to do serious survey here for survey. It's really hard working. Jonathan Shims is one of 4 cavers who ruled off this original survey of Mountain River Cave. We really need to do next is get over this one. He knows the one that defeated him back in 2009 is their biggest challenge. It's a dangerous obstacle to overcome, made of loose calcite and muddy stances nearly 50 feet high. We just won't expect anything like that. Shim determined that the trips will be a success. He won't fail twice. They can climb Forbidden One. He convinced that the animal cave continues on. They estimated one about 3 miles into the cave from the 328-foot bell at the entrance. It will take the team half a week to reach the final survey point at the Great Wall of Vietnam. After the initial route, there's an 1150-foot scramble lead to the first stop to the river crossing. From here, the team needs to climb high, following the river through the natural valleys of the cave. Then there's descents down to a level sandy area. After the first of two dolins, collapse hole in the cave surface. The dolins and cave beyond are where patrons hope to find new life forms and grandeurs, secrets of how the cave was formed. Then, through narrow sections across the larger dolin and into the second camp. So far, the final part of cave survey is a lot quarter mile before the Great Wall of Vietnam, and then it's into the unknown. Lindbergh's skating team has been exploring Vietnam caves since 1990. They picked the Gap Massif for a very good reason. It's a huge limestone area with lots of water, ideal ingredient for cave formation. No limestone, the rivers are trapped within the walls of non-sealable rocks, which hold the water in. But when it's the final access, the results can be spectacular. The volume and power of the water help create the gigantic cave. At the monsoon climates, with heavy downpours filling the many river heads, and the chains of water coming out of the colossal cave are even greater. So far, they've discovered 62 miles of caves, but not as big as this. There's the best additional factors must be at work here. The team needs to navigate difficult broken terrain to reach the first camp. Then nearly a total of a mile into the cave with 60 feet to go. Before reaching a powerful river, this runs like a main artery through the first part of the cave, at its lowest 353 cubic feet of water polluted by this point every second. It's called this enormous cave, and the team will have to navigate it twice. Lindbergh leads the way. Some evidence of a bit of water comes through here at times. Slip it on these. I can see the river. Wow, look at this. This is river coffee. Determined to move forward, they must cross the deep, threatening underground river.
Determined to move forward, they must cross the deep, threatening underground river. The water flows quite quickly. In full flow, the river could sweep any one of the caves off their feet, and if it floods, equalize the life-threatening heights, cutting off their escape route. Lindbergh shows the timing of expedition very carefully. It's the end of the dry seasons, so the river is slow. But any unexpected tropical downpour will cause the river to rise dramatically in 12 hours. Let's do it. My guys, we can start crossing. Next one. The most important thing is that you don't allow the river to sweep you away because there's a lot of rapids just down there. And we're not really quite sure that what's in the river beyond that because we haven't seen it on the way and there could be all sorts of very sharp rocks and all kinds of things. And the last thing you want is to get swept down the river because it could be a serious injury or even life-threatening. I'm actually quite nervous about river crossing because I'm quite slight build and I've been in flooding caves before. When you put your hands on something, your legs just get swept away from underneath you and you can't get back down to get footing. It's really dangerous. I will put a rock here, hold it tight. A major obstacle conquered. Daryl Granger can now start to really look around. You can see big formation, big stalagmites over there. See that? This is an amazing cave. He came down those big slopes. We come through the rocks and we finally made it down to the river level. So now we can set up camp here. We can start thinking about what we want to do the next. In this cave, the Titanic cave is there to explore. What is it that makes a cave so big? There's a lot of stories that we can learn from this cave. To claim the world record, Mountain River Cave needs to be consistently higher, wider, and longer than the current title holder, ViE Cave in Sarawak, Malaysia. When you're talking about largest caves in the world, there's no doubt there are some very long caves, and if you went on pure volume, many caves are bigger than this cave on pure volume. With pure dimensions of a whole single passage like this, that continues for 5 kilometers, is pretty unique in the world. Mountain River Cave runs in an unusually straight line from north to south without any deviation, so let's get started, okay? Granger believes the water in the oldest section of the cave could offer an explanation as to why this cave is so enormous. Highly erosive, extremely acidic water rushing over pure limestone may be the answer. To confirm his theory, Granger needs to draw a sample. Okay, so right now I'm taking a pH measurement. I have a pH right here. We have to leave it in the water for a little while to equilibrate. It will tell us the pH of this water. The pH ranges from 0 to 14. The lower the pH, the stronger the acid. To be out of the ordinary, Granger is looking for a reading lower than 7, which is neutral. On the surface, tropical rainstorms flood the vegetation and seep down through the soil. Along the way, the water picks up carbon dioxide, which makes it acidic. High levels of acidity would make the water flowing into Mountain River Cave more effective in seeping its way through the rock. Okay, so my pH should be finished now. And we have about pH 7.5, so that's pretty typical. Maybe a little bit on the low side. The result of the test surprised Granger. The water here is not overly acidic. This can't be the explanation for the cave's episodes. There's something strange going on here. And finding the answer to this huge puzzle is his primary focus. Granger needs to dig deeper. The explanation could lie in the river's efficiency at eroding the limestone. To test this theory, he measures how much dissolved calcium carbonate there is in the water. This will tell him how much rocks erodes daily. I'm gonna add some acid in here until the liquid turns yellow. And then the way this kit works, I can read off from the syringe how much calcite is in this water. One more drop. So now it's yellow. Okay, we have about 62 milligrams per liter. This means that every 1,000 gallons of water that passes by here carries 8 ounces of dissolved rock, about the size of a baseball each second. It sounds like a staggering amount, but for a cave of this size, it amounts to nothing. Like the pH level, the calcium carbonate result is ordinary and unexceptional. This is exactly the result the geologist might expect to find in any limestone cave river. These results don't help Granger understand why this cave is such a monster.
The answers must lie deeper within the cave. Harold Limber steam a 1/3 of a mile into the mountain river cave. They have food for 6 days, enough to get to the Great Wall of Vietnam and back. The team sets up camp. Rehydrating and replacing lost calories had to be carefully managed. The geologists and biologists of Hanoi University also joined the Limburg on the expedition. Hopefully the other quarters will check all the other bags to our underground camp. This is a great limit. This is an amazing program. Everybody has pulled more in their way. Annette Becher goes deeper and further into the cave looking for life. She's getting frustrated in her search. She's here to find undiscovered species, but so far only sees a barren landscape. That's a bit of shame. I have great expectation, but with the wave flooding, I have to rethink my approach. The team is exhausted and settled down for their first night inside the cave. The next morning, they continue over half and a mile further. Darrell Ranger has explored some of the largest caves in the world, but this one is about to reveal something he's never seen before. Deep in the heart of the mountain river cave lie the magical and mysterious Doong. Here, the key roof has collapsed inward, allowing sunlight to flood in, connecting above and below ground with the vital ingredient of life: water and light. This is the world's biggest cave. The rest of the stuff is building up to it. That's amazing. That's 1.5 kilometers away. That is huge. But that looks like it's 100 meters away, like we're in a normal sized kit, and took longer and a half. It's hard to imagine how big that passage is. Here's a unique mini jungle has taken root a quarter of a mile below the surface of the earth. The jungle, basically in the middle of a cave, is one of the most beautiful sights. It's incredible. It's got to be one of the wonders of the world. It doesn't happen anywhere else on this planet. I think that's the holy grail for biologists. For Granger, the doorlight is an unexpected window into the structure of the limestone here. It's also a view of the mountain river cave, like Achilles' heel. This is a good example of a special type of dwelling. This is a collapsed dwelling, so that happens when you have a cave passage and then the surface collapses into that cave, and it happened here because we have really thin backs. You can sort of see them on the backside of the loft, and they're just not strong enough to hold up this cave roof. At some points in the cave beds, the river ate away at the cave roof where the limestone beds are thinner. The river damaged the silent rock so much that eventually the rock collapsed. This collapse is known as cantilever failure. You can think about theoretically like having a piece of rock sticking out like a diving board. You can only stick it out so far before it breaks off under its own weight, and that's exactly what happens as you make the cave bigger and bigger. You are forcing a diving board of rock or a slab of rock to stick out, and it supports its own weight. The limestone beds in the part of Vietnam are especially thick, with very few cracks or weak points. The river tunnels through this landscape, challenging the strength of pure limestone, and the dolines brutally reveal a few places where the rock beds are thinner and weaker, but still divided here, open to the sun and the rain. Life arrived. Lung and Anna's Becher are first to climb into the underground. She's eager to tap into Lung's expertise in rainforest plant species to figure out how the subterranean wonderland compares with the surface. After disappointment in the first part of the cave, the doorlight fulfills Becher's expectation. Here is an area rich with life and a unique and unexplored ecosystem. It's fantastic. It's a treasure for biologists, and everything that lives here has got a complete chance. So, birds of just 6 plants have sprouted up. This species outside is evergreen, but here is a fall out the leaf in the winter. It's deciduous here, and those young leaves are the red. Hoping to find new species of plant evolved to flourish in this strange underground world, Long doesn't see any example of unique evolution. Instead, he thinks the plants in the dolly are showing extreme adaptation. It's a process known to biologists as phenotypic plasticity. In particular, in plants, the outer form is very variable. They can adapt very much to the environment, so there could be 2 plants that are perfectly have the same species that have the same DNA, but because they're in different environments, so they actually look quite different. That's the plasticity. So I think we'll see an example of spectacular phenotypic plasticity.
Unique adaptations appear throughout the domain in the tropic trees that are usually evergreen due to the absence of seasons, but down here they are deserts with spare foliage and major chondrug. Darwin theorized that is how the trees adapt to comparative lack of the water, sustain its life. This deep only words encloses this mini jungle and act as a natural barrier to the outside world, trapping pockets of life death within the cave. But looks for sorrow taken up to lay some surface chaff. Alcohol will preserve any creature that venturing. Now she must try any sign of life in the dark cave. But so far, the chance of finding anything of significance doesn't look good. Could the acidic water that creates this cave also destroying all life within? In the wide active part of Mountain River Cave, Darren Rangers discovered a clue as to why the apparently very ordinary water here was called out such an extraordinary cave. He's got a hunch that his fish of water and pig float could be the cave factor. Here, where we see little skeletons that carrying the word, they dissolving the word by water as it passes. He expects to find evidence that the water runs through here at a great speed. Faster the water goes by, the smaller the scalars. So if we big giant scalars, they can be, up to the meter across the very slowly moving water. Here they're about size an inch across, couple of centimeters across. From the side of the scalar, Granger can also feature what knows at the Raynaud number, the crucial measurement that tell him how to balance the water is. Like the acidity test earlier, the findings here are very average and often no clue as to why this cake grew so big. He calculated that The water here travels at only 3 meters per hour, a total ordinary velocity for any river. Although Granger's drought blamed on his crash, he might still be able to have rupture on hers. He considered the chronology of the cave life. I think what happened is the first non-light clashes, and it's attacked like a big dam. Okay, right? In the cave, right? We passes the dolly, and suddenly everything dries. Out we don't see the more normal becomes one normal less RT case, and that where the wildlife come in because if it doesn't get flooded out every 10 years or so it can has time to evolve. For Granger, the formula for how Mountain River Cave grew so big remain a mystery. This area has the right ingredients for a big cave, unusually large beds, appeal lanterns, and heavy monsoon rain filling a deep river. But the water is big and puddling turbulence doesn't reveal anything, and Granger is almost at a loss. The surveying team looks for answers too. That's probably 500 meters ago. So if we even pursue the cave and you get to end of a cave of explorations for there, we often get a big eye just to see if it's still continuing, and we know it can turn around and come back to another successful push the next day. Perfect to Jonathan. For these expeditions, they need to use more sophisticated way to measuring the cave size. Cave serving due to a primitive process where everything was done by hand. Now, digital laser reading cuts out the details, the tedious legwork, and provide precise measurements. They must survey every part of the cave precisely, and every measurement must be exact to the nearest inch. When it comes to climbing, the title was Big Cave is length, width, and height. That counts for Howard Lambert and his team. The laser sent a beam across two designated point called as survey stations, which seem smart with a small light. They measure distance, height, and angle. Span taking 29.9 minus 3 year 099. Left side.
The laser beam picks out the highest point in this section of the cave. It measured 328 feet high. The Statue of Liberty could fit in here quite comfortably with room to grow. The widest section surveyed so far is 338 feet across. This passage continues for another half mile, enough for a small plane to fly through, or even a whole display team. Very good, so go back to my section and we will get some light straight down there. Okay, can you try your tag? Lindbergh believed this cave is consistently longer and wider than Deer Cave, but he needs to find the highest area. Just alphabet Jonathan lies up, they are now over 2.5 miles in, and Deer Cave still hold the title of the world's biggest cave. Hope lies beyond the wall, but they have just 3 days left to survey, and there's a problem mounting while the dull and bring light. They also allow weather from the above to seep down into the cave. Jonathan, we got a problem with the clouds now. It is extremely accurate if there are no cloud in the way which there's in this case across the far sighter. This is one thing that does make it difficult on the peculiar hazards of surveilling the cave this size. The poor visibility means the team must stop the survey. At a paralyzing setback, they run enough time to get to the end of the cave. Time running out to survey Mountain River Cave. Howard Lindbergh makes a top decision. He sent his 2 best Winnie and Clark ahead to set the ringing on the treacherous Great Wall of Vietnam, so the rest of the expedition can follow tomorrow. If they can't scale it, they may not finish the survey, and we never know just how big this cave really is. In 2009, the explorers estimated the Forbidden Wall to be nearly 50 feet tall. Now Clark, as Winnie think it much bigger, estimating 200 feet, nearly the height of a 20-story building. They have the gear for the challenge, but the wall is going to be a longer, more dangerous climb than they expected. Geologists call this flow stone rock made weak and fragile by water dripping from the ceiling. The first 15, it does, which looks very good. This wall could be the mission downfall. That is more than gravel, is that? It soon becomes clear. This cave is not going to give up its secrets without a fight. Screen clock have been building it up to this for over a year. It's something that they are particularly interested. It is climbing and climb the wall, or the climbing and it's very soft mood calcite, and so normal votes will just fall out. It's going to be a difficult and exhausting climb. Back at the camp, the extreme conditions are taking their toll even on those who are not battling the wall. What can be quite difficult is just living in quite can be wild conditions. You got to keep things clean. It's very dirty at times again, and in everything we are caving equipment, all clothes. Failure is a big problem because he had continuously wet or sweating or going through rivers. We often get what we believe is a fungal infection of the feet. Meanwhile, that Betcher's search for light continued. She came to Mount River Cave to find new species, but with only a mile or so to go before the wall, she had yet to discover anything out of the ordinary. She had one more chance for a promising new sample area, a dry passageway. That's where the opportunities are with this fantastically big cave, so can go into those and look for tiny creatures that will be evolving in their large dry side passages in their archives. Regular flooding in large parts of the cave means that it's difficult for new life to gain a foothold, but in this dry occult spectral thing, she may find isolated species which has had time to evolve and flourish in complete darkness. Smaller and more primitive species, they better equipped it to evolve quickly. Evolution takes a long time. You have something like 2 or 3 generations a year. You can evolve a much greater speed, but mammals don't tend to have those generation times, so blood play, but in the cave is unlikely. Because of the cave's sheer size, species can easily get cut off from each other in isolation that you believe is possible for weird and wonderful offshoots to evolve. Zoologists and a picture finally strike gold in Mount River Cave. Fertile white woodlouse that at first seen in the cave. On the surface, they would be dark color, purpley dark gray, slate gray, or black. This is not something I expected to find here, so I'm very pleased. Come on, I'm almost 100% certain that this is a new species, and the reason being to have new species, you need isolation. Geographical isolation. Well, this is a pretty isolated place. They look different. They're nothing nearby that I've been seen in got to pigmentation. It would loud, alright, but it will be a new species of wood loud, but it will be specific to Hang Shandong. It's all but as good as it gets. It's a fantastic discovery for Betcher, a species that had adapted to its environment and survived the great floods of water that helped create this cave. There are absolutely no chance that anybody ever seen these creatures before, and that what is really excites me as a wonderful discovery. The wood allows a clear sight picture to what's happening here. In the cave, the key to adaptation is being able to keep up with the ever-changing environment, and the organisms that most successfully adjust to the prevailing conditions have a better chance of survival. When I set off, I had actually very low expectations, so finding the white wood lies much better than expected. I'm very excited about it. Woodlouse evolutionary path has enabled them to survive and prosper in an environment never seen anywhere else. I would expect UK spaces probably to be pigmentless or looking white to us and be plied. I don't think that wood light without are plied. They seem to have rudimentary eyes and they can certainly sunlight. So they are adapted to the cave environment. They just haven't gone the full way yet. So there's room for them to evolve more, and the next step would probably for them to lose their eyesight. A once-in-a-lifetime breakthrough that discovers new life within a domain, a breakthrough and evolution attributed to the awesome scale of this lost world.
Back in the can, time is running out. While Sweeney and Clark continue their battle to secure breaking on the wall and ready it for the rest of the team. If they don't succeed, the team cannot complete the definitive survey. Landmark and the rest of the team never sleep for the news. As the time being short, every ranger is convinced it's need to cracking the logical puzzle of why this case is so large. Huge volume of water, few limestone, and a tropical climate are important factors, but it's not enough to explain why this case is so big. In the bid for answer, he returns to his map in the region. So this is the digital elevation long edge that shows the area that we are in, right in here. This is Doong National Park. Rangers suspect the key evidence lie in the case geography. He spots an old fault lie on the map. It seems to mirror the underground road plotted by the mountain river cave. This may be the answer he is looking for. You know, the key moment was when I saw the fault line and then it all worked out. When I noticed it's the strange light here, they go both north and south. And remember that the cave goes both north and south. And then I realized we are right on the fault line. That's exactly what formed this cave. There's the same fault right up here. Once the river ran where the cave is today, there was a deep vertical crack in the earth's crust, a fault. Eventually, the river water eroded the limestone and went deep underground. Once the water filled the fault line and found a way out, the river began to erode the rock along the crack and a gigantic cave was born. Another key factor, the fault was narrow. When water started caving two caves million years ago, the narrow shape of the fault strengthens the cave. The reason the cave falls apart and the reason it breaks down is often because they get too wide and the limestone roof could not support the length of the cave for a long time. This is also a geological restriction to the cave width, reducing the possible risk of collapse and allowing the cave to continue growing in a straight line. The fault line is very vertical, and this has also influenced the cave's development and has turned it to probably the largest cave in the world, and that's because the wall is absolutely vertical. You know, they are vertical, so the caves are very, very tall. The 1,300-foot high domains show that what happens when the cave weakens. Ranger has every piece here. The layer of pure limestone is unusually thick. A huge catchment area feeding a large river, an underground fault line, and the right shape to contain the stable cave passage. Finally, a river on the limestone surface that made the cave the first opportunity. A perfect formula to build a gigantic cave. The title of the biggest cave would rest on reaching the top of the Great Wall of Vietnam. But the first thing they need to know is if Sweeney and Clark managed to climb it. 2.5 miles deep inside the cave, Climber finally gets the news he's waiting for. His team has reached on the top of the wall. The hatch is even beyond anyone's expectation. Unbelievable. 80 meters of beach, 80 meters, great news. The main goal for this trip is to get over this wall, and we have done that. This morning, I highly doubt we can do that. I thought it's gonna be too tough, but I did a great job. 80 meters is a huge climb in those conditions. The good news brings speculation as to what lies beyond the wall. I wouldn't be surprised if I see another cave and Howard thought it was going to the left. The inclination is clear to go straight there and terminate. But yeah, that's what we're gonna find out. Now, a final challenge awaits Lima and his team is to join swimming and Clark at the Great Wall of Vietnam. It took almost 2 days for everyone to get up there. It is a very fragile rock, so you need to be very, very careful. They have done a great job. The rated thing was one of the relief with rest indicates how serious this plan has been. He was standing up there and we were looking down. It was absolutely tremendous. The team finally arrived at the wall. It towers above them. This is what they have been working for, their ultimate destination. Labour and Jonathan Simmons were looking for a section of the cave that can beat the highest point of the cave in Malaysia. They haven't tried it yet, and if they couldn't go up the wall, they wouldn't know how tall the cave really is. It was really, really dangerous, so I had to be very careful when climbing on the wall. It's only for experienced cave explorers. Lamer made a difficult decision. Only the surveying team will go up the wall. It was too dangerous for Ranger and the field crew to follow. That's it. We will climb up and push into the unknown, as they say. Who went up first then? Winnie. We all intend to wait and get over the wall to see what's next. The field crew attached a camera to a helmet to record the plan. We can only watch. Lambert leads the team up on the final stage of the journey. It was all the team effort. I mean, it's not just some people climbing up there. This is what we have planned in a year. It's the preparation, the supporters, everything, which gives the chance to some people to do something like reach to the end. Cave explorers attack the Red Wall. Absolutely fantastic, beyond imagination. And is there anything else? Look at that. They had succeeded in the most difficult part of the expedition, the Great Wall of Vietnam. This huge hollow stone near the height of 25-story building was finally conquered, but the excitement was quickly followed by the disappointment. Its ranges suspected Mountain River case ends here. An exit to jungle lies 984 feet beyond the wall. With no more caves to research, the team gathers the final measurements from the top of the wall to the ceiling. The highest point of the cave in Malaysia is 574 feet. They justify 264 of the walls and can now calculate the height from the whole passage. 55.8 teams read the final measurements. 1.88 is very, very big. In the end, they got what they were waiting for. 96.4, 96.4. That's unbelievable. Our measurement methods have shown that Mountain River Cave is the biggest cave with the passage still higher, wider, and essentially longer than the other caves in the world. This is a fabulous cave, really satisfying ourselves. We had a really great time. It is just a mind-blowing experience for me, and I feel very fortunate to have been invited on this trip to see the largest cave in the world with my own eye and try to figure out the size of the cave. I feel it is a fortunate privilege to be on this trip with Howard and his team.